What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about two different cryptos in this video. First, we'll talk about Zcash, then we'll finish up the video talking about Dash. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. For all you Zcash and Dash enthusiasts, if you're looking for the next Zcash or Dash, whatever that coin is going to be that's going to pump, I think Bitcoin Cash is next on the list. Just in case anybody hasn't seen this chart, I'm going to make this part quick. We're not going to go over it for too long. But we have broken out of a multi-cycle, lifelong, historical trend line. We're consolidating here. This is what's called a bump and run. What's coming next will likely be, I don't even know what word to use, just amazing, outstanding. It's going to be fantastic. Likely a move that takes us above $3,000, maybe even as high as $5,000. We're at $550 now. I think it's going to see Zcash Dash type behavior over the coming days, weeks, and months. But anyways, so if anybody's looking to invest, if you want to throw money at Zcash or Dash, I would heavily encourage the thought of Bitcoin Cash. Dash is actually at a good place to buy right now, right? Like, you've come down so much from your high, it's at a good price to buy if you consider that it will go to higher prices. But we'll get into that. Okay, Zcash here. So starting off with Zcash, looking at the daily time frame, we've got 8 hours and 45 minutes left in the day. 1 hour time frame, actually. Let's go on this here. And looking at this, you did get some volume yesterday to move up. You've moved down a little bit since then, and that's fine. From a low, relatively speaking, to a high, you have hit the golden ratio for support, and you're coming back up. That's nice to see. Looking at the 1 hour indicators, the RSI is bouncing off the oversold zone, which is nice. Stochastics are coming up, and the MACD is finding support at the zero as well. All good things. I do think we do push higher. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, we are still within this consolidation phase where you have higher lows here. You've got a flat top here. It's almost like you've got this ascending structure, this ascending triangle structure. I would assume that on this next attempt or the attempt thereafter, we do break out and we do continue higher, ultimately pushing us to the targets that we've long awaited for, which are somewhere around $870 to $930. 930, not 903. I don't know how that sounded, but 930 to 877. Based off of this chart, based off of this fib from a high to a low, the expectation would be about $867 to $1,000. This could be the target area, and I accept that. Maybe we do push on to $1,000. It's possible. But we'll put these lines here, and we'll refine them as time goes on. Understand here, this is a very small range. We're on the 4 hour time frame. It looks big, but it's on the 4 hours, so it's really a small range. These levels might not be as significant as some other levels. Looking at the indicators here, the RSI is in a downtrend. We do have lower lows and lower highs. This is the one thing that's kind of making me a little bit skeptical of any kind of immediate upside. But the 1 hour looks good. The 4 hour bouncing here, I mean, you could move higher, but you are, I suppose, at a point more so where you would expect to come down to the oversold area. And maybe if you do that, you will get some bullish divergence, and then we can move up. But to get bullish divergence, you'd have to have a lower close. Then we're breaking out of this ascending structure. Maybe we're not in a ascending triangle at all. Maybe we're just in a horizontal channel, in which case we could go lower and then bounce from there. I don't know. Get a little W shape going on. I'll tell you what, if we break below, I would say like 470, we break below 470, then I'd be concerned. On a 4 hour closing basis, then I might be concerned. But even then, really, you'd have to wait till 440 breaks on a 4 hour closing basis before you're actually justifiably concerned, to be completely fair. Because if this is a horizontal channel, bouncing off of like 450 or 480, 465, just below 470, that's fine as well. Anyways, looking at the indicators, the RSI does make me think we have lower to go, where on the 1 hour time frame, everything else makes you think we go higher. So a little bit of confliction there. The stochastics would suggest that we're going to bounce here because we're looking to bounce off the 50, cross back up. I mean, this would be a perfect area to bounce on the 4 hour stochastics. And the MACD is bearish overall, but you can come up. I don't know. It's not terrible. Last time you were down here with the oscillators, you did move up. Maybe we get a push right now. Not a whole lot going on with the 4 hour, but of course, there's not going to be a whole lot going on with the 4 hour that's accurate because we're just doing some chop here over the past week. So that's probably why these indicators aren't that helpful right now. Daily time frame, lower lows in the RSI, higher lows in the price. It's hidden bullish divergence. We're getting a little lift from that. Same thing in the stochastics. Same thing in the MACD, really. So you have hidden bullish divergence on all time frames. Has that move played out, or is there more to play? We'll see. I would think if this was a double top, you would get below this point. Right? If you can't get below that point, it's not a double top. We're in some kind of consolidation phase of which we do probably break out to the upside. Oh man, I did this again, didn't I? Let's take high to low. I deleted it. I didn't mean to. We'll keep our lines on here. Our 1272 to the 1618. We'll just keep our lines on there and see what else comes up with that area there. Okay, so looking at the weekly time frame here, if we take our high to low pivot here, we've interacted with the as I like to call it, the money zone so far. We've hit the lower ends of this range, the 2886 to the 3113. $930, $926, somewhere in that area. That's where the top of this range is, and that does go right in between these two white lines, which again, that's the Fibonacci, that's the primary target zone. These white lines here is the primary target zone of this high to low Fibonacci extension. Right there. 1272 to the 1618, the primary target zone. So this checks out. Prices that are, anywhere from 860 to 925, this checks out as far as potential goes, right? It's possible that the high is already in. It is something to keep in mind. It is possible that the high is already in, but I do think that we go higher, especially with the things that we've seen so far on this video through this analysis. Let's look at the high to low here. High to low here. The expectation there would be at least going to the 1272. The 1272 is all the way up here at about 920, which is right there next to a 925, which is right here in the heart of this range that we have. Can we wick above these levels? Yes. Maybe we do push to $1,000. Maybe we go just above $1,000. But if I really had to guess for Zcash here, my thoughts would be that you do go just slightly above $900 and not too much further past that. Find some resistance and then come back down. That's my thoughts. 877, the $877 target comes from this chart, the all-time history chart. We take the same fib from last cycle's high to the low, and on the Coinbase chart it's different. On Coinbase, this 1272 says 920. On this chart it says 877. So I feel most confident about that range in itself, somewhere in that range. Doesn't matter what exchange you're using, somewhere between 920, 930, 870, somewhere in there. That's where we're going to go. We're at 559 now. And if I was buying here, my stop losses personally would be, if we closed a day below 470, really it'd have to be 440, which is unfortunate because if you buy here, that basically means that you have to sit through a 20% loss before you're convinced that we go lower. So I don't know. Is that worth it? Because 20% loss for what could be a 56% pump, 60% pump, maybe more, might be worth it. Maybe a 70% pump. It could happen. Might be worth it. But that's for everybody else to decide on their own, right? I don't know if it's worth it personally. I would rather, for a 20% loss, I'd rather see more sizable returns. It might be relative to this range. I think that we're in a good area to buy. I do, but relative to the market, I just think it's probably not wise to invest in Zcash right now. It's probably wiser to pick from the plethora of coins that are on sale this month, not up 38% or up, what was it, 444% from last month. Looking at Dash, moving on. Again, anybody looking to put money in Dash or Zcash, I would heavily recommend looking into Bitcoin Cash. Heavily recommend it. Join the House of the Dragon. Here we are at $58 right now. We've got about 6 days, 9 months, or 9 hours left in this month here. What a wicked pullback we've had all the way down, guys. And I mean, this really does just look like a lower high cycle after cycle. There's a possibility where Dash does not come back from this, where this does not happen. There is a possibility. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that we do probably push higher, but just this is an ugly look on the monthly. I'd like it, and who cares what I like, but I'd like it if in the next 6 days and 9 hours, if we could move up a little bit. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, zooming in right here. Actually, let's look at the daily. Just the going theory that we have right now is that, and this has not been the going theory since the highs. I'm not trying to pretend like I called it, right? Up here, we were expecting some turbulence, but down here we were expecting to move up, right? We were definitely not bearish at the right moments. We flipped bearish as soon as we got below this low here, as soon as we got there. So we've been bearish ever since, and we will be bearish, continuing to be bearish until this ABC correction plays out, in which case the measure move would take you basically right to about $40, $45, somewhere in that range. And if anything, we could go lower. We could go lower. Maybe we do go just below 40, and it's fine if we do. If we look at this on the weekly time frame, we take the low here to the high there. The 0.5 is right there at 51. The golden ratio is at 39. And if this measure move is accurate, if we, just remember that 39 is the golden ratio. If this measure move is accurate, then we should be moving down to about 39 bucks. 41 would be the measure move. We could move down a little bit past that, right? And I say measure move, it's not really a measure move. It's just if it's a ABC correction, typically they're pretty symmetrical, typically. So taking your first leg, your A leg here, this move, using that as a measurement for what your next leg should be in this correction, it just makes a lot of sense. Somewhere around 43, 40 bucks, maybe even just below there. Again, $39 is where your golden ratio is from this low to that high there. Something to keep in mind. Looking at the 1 hour time frame. Interesting. Interesting because here looked like a bear flag. You broke out, but now you're actually coming up. Bear flags typically do this, right? It's like you think this is the bear flag, but really it's this. This might be the overall bear flag, right? It might be a little bit bigger. It's like you get a false bear flag within your actual bear flag. Does that make sense? It's the same thing with bull flags. It's actually the exact same with bull flags. Anyways, kind of looking like you want to move up here. It's a nice little higher low. Let's look at you with some volume. Yeah, not a whole lot of volume though. Well, you're not really doing much yet. The RSI is neutral at the moment. I'm not impressed, right? Each time you keep getting lower highs in the RSI, rejecting the overbought zone where before you were getting into it. Overall, I suppose you are in a more bearish posturing than a bullish posturing. That'd be my guess. Stochastics are bullish. Stochastics are momentarily bullish. And the MACD here is bearish overall as well. But there is a little bit of give here with this fresh cross to the green side here. So maybe we move up a little bit. This might be a W right here. And I think if it is a W, it'll be a failed W. So we'll probably come up and then come back down. We could go as high from here all the way back up to $73. And even if we go to $73, that still does not invalidate the fact that we go lower. I just want to be very clear about that, okay? If we are moving higher, though, my guess would be the highest that we go to from here before moving lower would be $64 to $67. If we do move past that, maybe 76 at the highest, maybe. I wouldn't get bullish again until we're above this high at about $86, personally. Maybe we'll start to get bullish once we're back above 73, maybe, but we'd have to be consistently above there and not just wick up there and then come down, right? If we can get above there and stay above there consistently, maybe we can flip bullish there before we get to 85, and that's okay, whatever. But I would assume that we do go lower. I'm not falling for this at all. I think what we're going to see here at best is $64 to $67, slightly higher high. It'll just form this bear flag rather well. We'll come down at a later date, and then maybe later this week we start to break down. That'd be the thoughts that I have there. Looking at the 4 hour time frame. Green, which is nice on the MACD, not bad. But it's bearish overall. Higher lows here, lower lows there, a little bit of bullish divergence maybe. Bullish divergence, not bullish divergence, but bouncing off the oversold zone there, and the stochastic suggests that we go higher as well. So I'm sticking with it. I think that we do move up above this high here, but then promptly thereafter we should be moving lower, right? Maybe by the end of this week, if not sometime over the weekend or next week, we should be moving lower. And I do think something around, maybe as low as $34, but at least around like $45, probably closest to $39 to $40. That's ultimately where Dash is going to go. And then from there, we can sing Kumbaya and start to grow. Right? We take a low here. That was not the low. We take the low to the high. Assume that you're at the golden ratio. Just to move back to this high, that'll be about a 4x move. And likely we see something that well surpasses that. Likely brings us to prices that are above $230, $330, maybe as high as $400 before we find our next stopping point. So there's definitely ample opportunities here. I do believe that there's a lot of growth coming for Dash in the coming weeks, maybe even next month in December. Maybe I should say the coming week or two, a little bit of dropping. And then after that, maybe sometime in December and going into the end of the year, we should see some recovery. But I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.